Hi everyone. I'm going to show you a video today on how I'm going to make her eyes. Now this doll here is from a video that I'm actually still in the process of recording, and I will be showing everyone how I went about creating this doll. And I'm getting ready to put her eyes in. And I thought, well, why not just show it to you and don't even put it in the other video. I love doing eyes, and I love coming up with different ways every time. I don't stick to one method. I don't buy acrylic eyes. I don't buy pre-made eyes. I don't do computer printouts. I don't do any of those because I want my eyes to have a personality as I'm creating the doll. And when I have an eye that has been produced, it doesn't feel right to me. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. Some people like that, but it doesn't do anything for me when I'm sculpting. It really does a lot for me as far as to feel my work is when I can make the eyes from the very beginning and to the end. I put in, I couldn't tell you how many hours I can put in just for the eyes for one doll. I enjoy it. It's really no time to me whatsoever. So I'm going to show you how, this is pretty simple I think, that I'm going to create these eyes. First of all, I have my hollow head, and I have it thinned out quite a bit, and I'm even thinking that I'm going to thin it out more, but by doing the eyes I can still do it later. When I do the eyes, I don't like using colored clay. I like using flesh, and matter of fact, I will use flesh for clothing, shoes, anything. I just won't use colored clay. And the reason for that is because I really feel that, for me that is, my style, is that it looks too much like clay. By using the flesh, for some reason, it doesn't do that, but I have to go in there and I have to paint it. But now on the eye, sometimes I can get away with not painting the whites. Okay, I want to make sure that the clay is conditioned. And I'm going to take a piece, kind of a good size, not real big, and I'm going to roll it into a ball. And I want it to be real smooth. I don't want any creases or anything. I want that to be perfect as far as smooth. Then I'm going to take cornstarch. Now you can use whatever you're used to, and if it's baby powder, use baby powder, but I will never use baby powder with polymer clay. So I will always mention that it's cornstarch. I won't have baby powder even sitting on my table. Okay, I'm going to powder that up really good. And I'm going to take my clay and I'm going to make another ball. Do the same thing. And I'm seeing in the camera my bozzy is sitting there. I'm not using the bozzy here. This is Fimo Flush. Oh. Okay, let me try that again. Okay, now they don't have to be exactly the same size because we're going to push it into the hole. I'm going to slip that one in. And let's see, I'm going to slip that one in. Let's see if I can do two at a time here. I don't know. Don't know if that's a good idea. But I'm going to press that in into that hole. But I don't want to join it together now because I'm going to slip them back out. I'm going to look at the front and I have a ways to go here. And I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to push that clay in. And I can even fold it back in because this part here, I don't really care what this looks like. Okay, now this one is really starting to look good. Now it's going to look a little bit funny because she doesn't have eyelids yet. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm doing this. I have to put eyelids on her. And I don't want her eyes to look like they're bugging out of her head, and I don't want her eyes to look like they're sunk into her head. This one here may be a little bit more. Okay, now that looks good. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some mica powder and I'm going to be using Violet. Now these mica powders I bought off of eBay many years ago. And I think somebody put them together, but these have been the best mica powders I have ever owned. They're real fine. They're not coarse. And I like it when it's real fine. It's like satin. Okay, now I'm going to just go ahead and I'm just going to start brushing that onto the clay. I'm not worried if I get it on the eye because that'll come off later on. No big deal with that. Whoops. I kind of like that, the way that splattered on her face. Now some of you, if you use the liquid Sculpting, you can mix it with that. You're going to get a different effect than what I'm doing. I don't use liquid Sculpey or Fimo gel on my dolls. I will only use it for like wings, and I really don't like to use it for wings either. But that would be the kind of things that I would use it for. But you can mix it and then put it on it, but then you're going to have to clean up your doll eye really good because you're going to have that liquid Sculpey on it, which really that wouldn't be a problem getting it clean. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to do one color. Now you can use as many colors as you want, but I will say put it on heavy, because the first pair I just did it very lightly and it didn't have much color. So don't think that you're going to get it too dark. I don't think that'll be a problem. Unless you want a real light eye. And actually, here, let's see if I did it. I have one, and see, it turned out really light. Which, when it's in the doll and the eyelid on it, it really did. I liked it. But I thought I would redo it for you guys so that you can maybe see it better on the camera. I don't know. Okay. Now I'm going to take my tool here, and I'm going to keep my finger in the back so that I hold that. And I am going to make the mark for the pupil. Now I want that eyelid to come up over the top of that pupil so that she doesn't look like she's bug-eyed. So I'm just going to put a little mark. Same thing here. Hoping that I can get this even. Whoops. I'm trying to keep it in the camera too, and I think I just need to mark it. Okay. Now, I want to pop the eyes out. And you can look it over. And let's just do this one more time. I think I might have enough on there. I'm just going to go ahead and just put a little bit more. Really, you can't put enough on. And you'll see why when I get done. Really kind of, I'm lightly rubbing that on because I want it to kind of grab the clay. Let me get a little bit more. Okay. Now I want to take them out. And just slowly move the clay. And just kind of like pull it out. Okay, there's one. Let's see if we can get this one out that easy. Should. Okay. There's the other one. Now if you see like you need more color, don't be afraid to put more color on it even when I have it in this stage. You can put it on at any time. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to pop them in the oven. Now some of you might say, well, can I do it with a heat gun? You can. I don't use a heat gun on my clay. So, but yeah, you can. Okay, so I'll be back when they're cooked. Okay, I've taken them out of the oven and I went ahead and I dotted it off camera because it was a lot easier for me to do it that way. But I used just some acrylic paint and I just put it right on that mark that I made, and it should be dry now. So I'm going to pop them back out. And the one thing that I didn't do was the first time was put a little mark in it of which eye it went in, because I was sitting here trying to fit them back in because I didn't do that. It'll just make it easier on you. Okay, I'm going to just show you with one eye. I'm going to take my magic gloss, and the way that I use it, and it seems like it really works for me, is that wait till all the liquid gets right down into the very end. And then what I do is I don't really squeeze it. I just get that drop started, and I'm just going to just barely touch it. And then as I got the UV gel right there, I go in it like a circle. See, it'd be like this. It's tiny. And I'm going to put just a little bit more right here. Now you might wonder why I don't do this while it's in the eyes. I don't know why. It doesn't want to dome on me if I have it in the doll head. I don't know why. So I have to do it this way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the other one. And then I'm going to put it under the light, and then I'm going to stick them back in the head, and then I'm going to show you how I start the eyelids. Okay, I went ahead and I just slipped the eye in, which I need to take that clay off that I had the eye sitting on so it would sit level in my light. I've taken some fresh clay and I've rolled out 2 very small balls, and I'm going to flatten them out. And I'm going to lay this right across the eye. Kind of have to keep your finger in the back and just lightly press. Just work that clay. And I'm going to take my tool here and I want to press right here. I'm going to take it here and I'm going to press it right here. But I'm going to push it towards the center. Because this part here is going to be raised up higher. So I'm just going to clean up my lines there. And then I'm going to make a mark where the corner is going to be. And remember, this corner here will be out further than this corner. So I'm going to take my tool, and it has a little curvature to it, and I'm going to go right in between those dots, and I'm going to very lightly push, just push, very lightly. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to take that clay and I'm going to bring it down. And I'm keeping in mind that that is like a half moon. So this area here is going to be raised up higher than this or this. I'm going to take my other tool and I am going to, oops, I'm going to start cleaning that up off the eye. And I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to get rid of it. And a little bit here. Now here's what I want to accomplish. Is that I want to make this eyelid to where it's not real thick. I want to make it kind of thin. I'm going to go ahead and take this off too. And take this. Okay. And I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. Okay, this is too much right here. And I'm lightly going across it. I'm not pressing hard at all. That is one of the biggest things that it seems like has to be really stressed, is that it is a very light touch when you sculpt. If you press down harder, you get sharp lines. And when you get the sharp lines, you get more of a masculine look. Or that could be just the style you like too. I like to try to make my dolls really soft, like a soft feel. And sometimes I will start off with it being harsh. So it just takes time. I'm going to push that eye out a little bit more. Now I can bring that eyelid this way if I want it to go up, which I really don't. I want it to come back down. And actually what I did, I can see it, but it's not a big deal. Whoops. I actually took a little bit too much off of that bottom. So I'm going to put it back on. Oops. Just a little bit at a time. Oops. And a little bit more. And I'll play with this for quite a while until I start feeling those eyes are talking to me. And I'll go in there, clean that up. Okay, let me get my other tool here. And I want to make that tear duct. And this area in here is deep. And I'm going to bring this down. Whoops. this is how I will sculpt these eyes in. Now I won't complete the doll eyes in this video because this is an area that I spend a lot of time with. But I just wanted to show you how you can get a pretty eye just by the way that I did it with the mica powders and using flesh clay. Now if I would have used the white, I would have gotten a different look. And you know, maybe that's just me, but I turn away from that. I just don't like it. Not on my dolls. Now what I'll do is I will take my flesh clay and I will get it all right in this area right here because I've got a sharp line. Now this is the starting of the brow, which I am actually going to fill this one in. I've already done that one, but this one here got messed up for some reason. Okay, now once I have that in, okay, now here's the part that I want to show you. Now I would have that taken care of much better, but we're jumping the gun here. I would take a paintbrush with my cornstarch, and that is when I would go in there and I would smooth it and smooth it, okay? And when I would have the eyelid to where I don't need that eye to be bracing that clay anymore, okay, I would do more work than that, but I want to show you this part, and I'm hoping it's going to work. Let me just pull this up a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to take my tool very lightly and I'm just going to give it a little push just to start it. Not much. Okay, then I'm going to go from behind and I'm going to pull this out. Here we go. Now you want to do it really easy. This is the part that I just love, especially when it just pops out. And it did. Okay, I'm going to set the eye aside, and I now have an eyelid. I have a little piece of clay in there. Okay, now if that were all cleaned up, nice and smooth, then I would put it in the oven and cook it. And after it was cooked, then I would take my eye, I would put it back in, and then I would use my 2-part epoxy, just a very small amount, and I would put it in the back just to give it a little bit more security than with that polymer clay in there. You just want a small amount, and that's how I will be doing this doll. Part here isn't going to be complete, but I'm going to show you what it will look like. I'm going to take my 2-part epoxy and what I'll do is I have the eyes in and I have it all painted. Now my paints haven't been set, so when I'm finished with this video I'm going to take it all off and I'm going to still work on the inside of her head. But I wanted to show you what it's going to look like with some makeup on and with the eyes done the way that I chose to do it. And like I said, I never know how I'm going to do it. I just kind of threw that together. Okay, in the inside, what I'm going to do is, if this doll was completed and the eyes were right into the position that I wanted, I would take my 2-part epoxy and I would put a layer of that right over the eyes so that it secures them in. But what I want to do is I still want to go inside the head here and still thin it out some more. So I'm not ready to set these eyes. But I wanted you to see that, and I think they turned out pretty well. It was very simple. Again, you would have to have a hollow head, or you could also just make your lenses. And if you're doing a whole sculpture to where like you have aluminum foil in, you can push those lens in. But the only thing that I really like about this is that I don't have to put the eyes in the oven. And it seems like that is where I always ran into some problems. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. And like I said, I'm going to have a video coming out to where I'm going to show you how I produced this doll. And I want to thank you, and I'll see you then.